Hello there again. Hi, my name is Darren. I am a 63-year-old personal trainer with a background in self-defense. Today is about sports-specific training. Sports-specific training is customized for optimal performance of a specific sport. Today's teaching is about increasing your optimal performance of the lunging side kick. And it all is about personal training and martial arts coming together. And it all starts out and consists of balance, strength, flexibility, stability, and coordination. Balance will help you increase your accuracy of where your strike lands on the target. Strength is all about increasing your explosive power and increasing your PSI behind the strike. Flexibility is all about your speed, increasing your speed and your fluidity to flow like water. Water motion tends to stay in motion. So when water flows down a river, it crashes into rocks. It keeps going. Its energy doesn't stop there. It keeps going past the rocks, under, around, and over the rocks. So that concept helps you to sink your strike deeper into the target. Stability. Stability is about strengthening the isometric contractions of like around my ankle that support the ankle. All the muscles in this leg are contracting isometrically. There are 3 different types of muscle contractions: positive, negative, and isometric, otherwise known as concentric and eccentric and static, which eccentric and negative mean the same thing. Positive and concentric mean the same thing. Static and isometric mean the same thing. So as you practice like balancing exercises to develop the stabilization muscles in this leg, this helps you with better control. So when I'm kicking in here, when this foot, support foot, is pointing at the target, I'm developing strength in the lower leg. The same thing around the ankle of this foot, because this helps give you a real strong base to be able to push. This is a 270-pound water-filled base, and I'm pushing it without being pushed off of balance. Does slide easier out here versus there. This kind of anchors it more. This pad here. Okay, stability, coordination. Okay, the last one will be coordination. Coordination is how it all comes together as one movement. Initially, when you practice this kick, you're going to be thinking, and you're going to feel awkward to begin with. You would say, okay, this fake back fist to bring the person's guard up, to open up all this area. This fake back fist would be 1, 2, and then 3. Initially, you're probably going to have to think of it that way as 1, 2, 3, but eventually when you practice it enough, like I've been practicing this kick for years, for thousands upon thousands of times, it just comes natural where I'm not thinking. It's a feel. It's kind of like Bruce Lee said over 50 years ago, don't think, feel, empty the mind. It should come natural as just one movement. To me, that's one movement. I don't think of 1, 2, and 3, but it comes within time of practice. Okay, now I learned this kick many years ago by a martial arts expert by the name of Sifu Kenny Mills. He teaches privately out of Gainesville, Florida. He is an awesome, phenomenal teacher, 1 in a million teacher. If you'd like to connect with him, you can find him on sifumills.com. He's just phenomenal. And, if you'd like to learn more about what he does, you can look him up. Okay, the lunging side kick, it's a very powerful, dangerous kick. If you've ever been on the receiving end of this kick, it's like this. You will be down on all fours like this, you will feel like your mouth and your stomach, your stomach and your lungs are coming out of your mouth, and you will just feel like the whole life has been sucked out of you. It's not a pretty picture. Highly recommend wearing protective sparring gear, pads from here to here. Nice pads, to withstand that kind of power. And I'm only talking about when I was on the receiving end of this kick, I was also kicked in the abdominal region, which holds back your intestines. This area, there's no bones. If you happen to get kicked in this area, the rib cage, even if it's only 50% of what that person has behind their kick, as long as they execute it properly, if they're only using 50%, you're going to end up with broken ribs. Learn from my mistakes. Always wear protective gear, or you end up with broken ribs up here, guaranteed, even if it's a light sparring match. Okay. Also, I'd like to add that this kick, I really hate to see it misused. So before I get started, I just want to talk about, if you're like a bully or a hate monger, do you hate a person or a particular people group? That's not what this is about. This is for self-defense purposes only. This is not for you. I've prayed to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that this information will not get into the wrong hands. If this information is misused in an evil way, I'm just letting you know that you will be held accountable by God himself. Now, with that being said, I highly encourage steering clear of any physical conflict. Nothing good will ever come of it. Even if you win the battle, they could come back looking for you with a loaded gun. There's nothing good about that. Try to steer clear of that. I've done a good job of that my whole life. And this is about the love of physical training that can help you if you have no other option but to use it. Now, with all that being said, we'll get started into the meat and potatoes of this. So with the sport-specific training, I'm going to start out with warm-ups to get the oxygenated blood flow into the quads, the hamstrings, and the gluteus maximus, which are the prime mover muscles of this kick. So I'm going to start out just going down. And another thing is, depending on your fitness level, you can do as many sets or repetitions as you want. I'm just going down to like 90 degrees. Since there's a lot of information to cover, I'm not going to be doing the normal workout that I would do. This is only going to be like 20% of what I would normally do 3 to 4 times a week. So this is just getting a warm up to get the oxygenated blood into those muscle groups. And then right from there, I'm going to go into a quadricep stretch. Sometimes I don't hold on to anything because it helps my balance. Practice and balance at the same time. Usually hold that about 15 seconds. Now it's important that the knee stays pointed at the floor here. And then you bring it straight back. A lot of times you see this. This is not an effective stretch. This is more an effective stretch for the quadriceps right there. Okay, now we're going to go into an exercise called, well, I call it circular squats. If you Google that, you probably won't come up with anything because it's just a name I made up. But it's a circular motion like this in a squatting position to where you're drawing a circle. Like say you're drawing a circle on the ground right here, and then you can go back the other way. And the best thing about this is you are training your internal and external rotators of the hip, which are very important. There's going to be a lot of training to increase strength and flexibility in your internal and external rotators. Just like you have the rotator cuff muscles that rotate the shoulder, you have internal and external rotators that rotate for getting different angles in kicks. So you're getting into different angles. Okay, now we're going to stretch the external rotators, which are located right here, just to the rear of your hip joints right here. And it's going to bring this foot out a little further than this one. I'm going to rotate the knee inward. Rotate the knee inward. Hold that position. You can hold it for up to 15 seconds. And I'm stretching both external rotators right here at the same time. That's external rotation, internal rotation. Right now we're internally rotating to stretch the external rotators. Okay, now I'm going to go right into side lunges. And these side lunges are for increasing the strength of your adductor muscles of the inner thigh, which are right in here. These adductors, if I pull my leg in like this against resistance, my adductor muscles here are contracting to pull my leg in. And that's going to be very important for increasing speed into the target. Okay, I'm going to go right into front lunges. This exercise here involves balance, strength, flexibility, and stability, all four things. On my descent, my quadricep muscles, the hamstrings and the gluteus maximus are working eccentrically or negatively going down. Now at the same time, my hip flexor muscles in here, the iliopsoas, which is actually two muscles, I'm stretching the iliopsoas, which is a powerful hip flexor at the same time. So, and there's balance, stability involved here. So stability muscles are working to keep me balanced, stretching here, strengthening negatively and then positively right there, all in one exercise. So we want to point this foot this direction and this one that direction, kind of just like this, so you're at like a 90-degree angle. And then you're going to rotate down, come up, rotate down. Oh, what? That's a different exercise. And get to that one. Stretch the hip flexor here and strengthen the quads, glutes, and hamstrings and stabilization muscles all in one. Okay, so now I'm going to go into which I call the rotation leg press. Also working external muscles here, especially this leg, the external rotators, balance, stability, okay, from that exercise I'm going to go straight into a half split. Never really acquired the flexibility to do a complete split. By holding this position, this is an isometric contraction of the adductor muscles of the inner thigh. I'm going to hold this for a little while. Then right from here, I'm going to go into a stretch. I'm going to completely relax these muscles by placing most of my body weight on my arms. Now I'm going to be able to come out a little wider. Now the muscles of the inner thigh, the adductors, are relaxed. Completely relaxed. So it's a good effective stretch. This is actually a form of PNF stretching. You can Google that to learn more about it. It's commonly used in physical therapy. Stands for proprioceptive neurofacilitation stretching. Okay, now I'm going to come forward and stretch the internal rotators of the hip joint. So I feel this right in front of the hip joints, here and here. That's a really effective stretch. I really feel that pull. Now to emphasize it a little more, what I'm going to do is rotate the right hip towards the floor and then rotate the left hip towards the floor to emphasize even more, to get more out of the stretch. And hold that position for a while, and then hold that position for a while. Okay, after this one is the horse stance for isometric strength in the quads, glutes, and hamstrings. So you're going to hold this stance just like this. I usually practice like chain punches or some blocks. I did a Google search to find out who can hold this stance the longest. It's a martial arts